Mr. Jax Taylor, where does one begin? Listen, we cover it all with Jax. We sat down with Jax. I find this conversation and all the parts there too so interesting. We sat down with Jax basically before the Valley was announced. He was talking about a show he was pitching. I was like, yeah, right, Jax. We all pitch a show, right? It was the Valley. Who knew? So before Scandival, before the Valley, before his separation from Brittany, we sat down with Jax. Now, I'm going over these videos. I'm going over this chat, and I find it so interesting. These have never before been seen. Well, we're going to share these with you. I find it so interesting looking back because I also don't think the Valley, no shade, would have been greenlit if it wasn't for Scandival. I've said that before. So this was before all of that. So when Jax was talking about the show he was pitching, I was like, yeah, right. Little did I know, but it's so interesting foreshadowing the Valley. And just of course, I'm reading into so many things that he says now about his marriage to Brittany, now that they're being separated. This wasn't that long ago, but this chat supersedes all of that. So, did we see Easter eggs in there? Did we see some foreshadowing? I don't know, but let's listen. Let's see what we can find out.
Cameras are here or not. You guys are just here to see it. But this was going on regardless. I see now things are a little bit more, I think, manufactured. I guess that's the right word. Yeah, it was real then. Like it was the real deal. And I think when I would do other conferences and talk about the show and why our show was so successful, it's because you had a real group of friends. You didn't have, okay, hey, we're going to bring in this girl. We need a blonde to play against this guy, and we need them to be friends, but we also need her to fight with this. Like there was none of that. And I think that's why our formula worked so well. And you can really tell when shows are casted, when they bring in, we're going to bring in this girl. She looks like she would flirt with him. It doesn't mesh. And I can see it now because I was on a television for so long that you can tell a casted group. You can tell a forced situation. You can tell why are they having dinner at this time and having this? You can tell. And I think when we were on it, it was just so organic. It was so, man, it was just easy for them. And they were popping out episodes left and right. We were like doing 20 episodes, now I think they're doing 9 or 8, but we were doing 20 because there was just so much. We literally would start filming at 8 in the morning. We wouldn't stop till 1 o'clock in the morning. It would just go all day. It was incredible.
I would agree with all of that. Doing what I do, I can tell when something's forced 100%. And I do agree, like everything must change. So like season 8, when you guys left, you put out these statements. That was the end of it. Why? Then the whole world exploded. We had this Variety article that said like Jax and Brittany were fired, and there's no shade. No shade by this because I've been fired basically from every job I've ever had, which is why I'm here working for myself. But since you're here, were you guys fired or did you guys quit? I think there's still so much confusion about this situation.
It was a mutual situation. It didn't work for us anymore. It wasn't fun, and like I said, going through the motions of still bartending at 43 and still going through the same thing. And it wasn't good for my mental health. Like it was like, I just couldn't do it. And I think it was, I don't want to say, everything happens for a reason. And it just was our time to depart. It was just our time. Some people have different things to say about it. Some I don't know the best way to say this. There was different views on it, but it all worked out. Bottom line, it all worked out for the best. We got some great projects in the works. We're excited. We're excited to do the same thing, but I need to do a little bit more of an adult version. We're parents now. I think the people that want to see us now that are, that followed us 10 years ago want to know where we are now. What's going on now? We're parents now. There's a little bit more different kind of interesting stuff. We're not going to the bars anymore. We're going to parks and daddy and me classes. And I got my kids strapped to me and I'm trying to figure this fatherhood stuff out while living in Hollywood, while trying to have a social life, while trying to be married. It's a different kind of fun now, as opposed to before where we were just going to clubs and bartending and going to clubs and yelling and bartending and arguing. And it's a different type now. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say we're at the Housewives level yet, but we're definitely not at Vanderpump yet. We're kind of in the middle where we're just getting to like the older next chapter of our lives. Well, yeah, next chapter of our lives. Because a lot of us have kids now. Me, Sheena, Lala, Stassi, we all have kids now. It's a different world. We don't do anything the same anymore. We have bedtimes and, throw up towel and diapers are changing, but it's a different kind of fun now. You know what I'm saying? It's just the next chapter of our lives. We just took a different step.
Do you ever regret like this mutual decision that, you guys
No,
were in?
no. It was time for us. And like I said, it just wouldn't have made sense for me to, I know how it works in the reality world. I know what would happen. They would have me bartending. They would cut to my wife changing the diapers at home on a Friday night, cutting to me to bartending, talking to a girl. Like, I know what they would do. They would try to say, look at Jax. He's out there bartending on a Friday night while his wife's at home changing diapers. Like, I just know. And there was a no win for me. And I understand that's what they have to do. They have to make it interesting. But I just knew what I was signing up for there in this next part of it. You know what I'm saying? I know it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
That is all.
And that's, I'm not saying I was a character, but that's who I was in the show. I mean, that's what they were looking for. They were looking for me to have the wandering eye while I'm at the bar on a Friday night, while my wife is at home, being Susie homemaker. Like, that's what they wanted. They wanted to like say, oh, this is going to be bad. And that's just not okay with me anymore. Now that I have a child, that someday he's going to watch this, and with the internet, nothing goes away anymore. So I just didn't feel comfortable with my son saying like, Dad, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It's different before you had kids and before you are married. I'm married now. I have a child now. It's not like, oh, it's my girlfriend, who cares? It's a marriage, I have a child. So everything I have to do now, he's going to look at me one day and say, okay, he had fun, but at least he wasn't married and had kids yet,
I never thought about it like that, but I 100% agree with you. That's exactly what they would have done. And they exactly would have shown you, and Brittany would have been home 100%. I agree.
There was no win situation for me there. I just, no matter how hard I would have tried, I don't think they would have made me look the way I am today. Was I a crazy person back then? It was scumbag. Yes, absolutely. It really took meeting my wife and getting married and starting a family for me to really change my whole outlook on life. I'm a completely different person, and I'm for the better. It's a blessing that I met my wife, and it's a blessing that I have this child, because it really saved me in many, many, many ways. And I honestly don't want to go back to that world, even remotely to that world. Like I said, we have a couple projects that we're working on right now. We're really close on a couple different things, and I like where we're going. And I like now, it's not so much stressful. It's more family fun now. It's like watching me and my friends that have kids do daddy and me classes, and watching me and, trying to, raise a child in Hollywood while your friends are out partying. It's a whole different world now.
And what do you say? And I'm not saying it, but anytime you say this, like even Brittany said it when she was here, like we have some things in the works, then the media goes and says like, BS, Jax has been saying that for, however many months, or there's nothing in the works. That's what always comes out of that talk.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know how things work in Hollywood. Things they move at a snail's pace. You talk about something, even if you're talking about it, nothing will get going for at least a year. It takes a long time. You got to pitch, you got to meet, networks, you got to talk to networks, and you got to go back and you got to redo a new pitch it, because sometimes you'll take it to the networks and like, we like it, but can you change this? Then you got to go back, and we're not the only show in the works right now either. We're just millions of shows. So it's like, we just got to bide our time. So when people say, they always say this in the works, well, I don't want to sit around and be like, I'm not doing anything. I am working on something. I just don't know when it's going to be ready. It takes time. Shows take time to develop. They take years to develop. And sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Then you got to go back to the drawing board. That's just Hollywood. Everybody's always working on something. So when you talk to somebody in Hollywood, they're always working on something. Everybody's always working on something. It just takes a lot of time. So yeah, I've been talking about, sorry, I'm in the garage. I got dust in here. We've been working on this for a very long time, but the way the world's working right now, everything's just coming back. It's slower, but it's taking time, and that's okay. We want it to be good. We're really excited about it. We're really, really, I just said we're really, really excited about it. And we think we've got a good project here. We got a good thing going on here. And we just want to make sure it works good, and it comes out well. So I just don't want to sit here and be like, no, we're not doing anything. No, we're not doing anything, because we are, it just takes time.
Well, that was the number one, not that you're not doing anything, but the number one question I got, not that I take everyone's questions, I have my own mind, but people, when I said I